Let's get the party started. Happy Sunday to everyone. Let me say that again. Happy Sunday, Haiti. Happy Sunday, wherever in the world you are, the US, Africa, Germany, Caribbean, everywhere. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Ready to have this convos real quick. I have to say I'm very excited about this because whenever it comes to Haitian treasures, these things that you grow up with, you see it all the time, and ou pas nécessairement connaît que it's something super important until you start going and you start doing some research, and then you realize que wait, this is a bit more serious than I ever thought this was. So I learned a lot recently about Haitian castor oil, and I'm definitely excited to talk about all this with all the people in the Zoom right now. Bonsoir Julio, bonsoir Michel, and as well as people qui will regarder nous live on Facebook and maybe tomorrow. But that's the beauty of content. Gen moun ki se un mois plus tard yo wè lwe video sa, m salue nou tout.
Thank you, man. So today, of course, we're going to have this conversation in Kringlish. So we're going to mix it up with Creole and English. So everybody on this side of the world, at least, will try to understand. So today we are talking about something super exciting, which I think a lot of people are starting to catch on to in countries, organizations, companies. We're talking about the opportunity of castor oil, especially as it relates to Haiti. That's pretty exciting. And I think that's something that very few people have understood. And when you look at some of the top exports that come from Haiti into the US, one of them is essential oils, and castor oil falls under that. But breaking it down, we're just focusing just on castor oil. Let's jump right into it, man, and tell me, how big of a market is castor oil? When you talk about the consumer market here on this side of or the world in general, if you know, how big is that market?
Yeah, well, before we talk about the market, we have to talk a little bit about Haispot Convoz for the people que c'est première fois vous participez avec nous. D'abord, qui ça qui Haispot? Haispot, c'est une plateforme e-commerce. Moi, j'ai utilisé high level concept. C'est exactement tant qu'Amazon, mais sauf que c'est produit haïtien seulement que nous vendons. Donc, c'est des produits que nous vérifions qui ont origine en Haïti, ou bien que nous vérifions que propriétaire business, là, monde qui fait business, là, either of Haitian descent, or les sont haïtiens natifs natal, et que produit ont une connotation que la prône origine haïtienne, authenticité haïtienne. So that's what Haispot is. Nous sommes une plateforme internet, un site web, haispot.com, ou qu'à aller sur l'Ikounia, ou qu'à faire deux bagailles. Si vous avez un produit qu'on va essayer de vendre aux États-Unis, vous pouvez créer un store, propre store par ou lister propre produit, ou choisir prix, ou choisir tout ça qu'on choisi, ou gain contact direct avec les gens qui ont acheté dans main là, ou gain coordonnées, ou contacter, etc. C'est pas que nous achetons dans main ou que nous revendons. Deuxième bagage qu'on peut faire si vous sont gens qui vivent dans la diaspora, ou c'est un haïtien qui vit dans la diaspora, ou c'est un monde qui remet produits haïtiens, qui remet le fait que c'est des produits organiques la plupart du temps, organic, des produits bio la plupart du temps, naturels, 100% naturels, ou bien on veut supporter entrepreneurs qui en Haïti, qui a travaillé pour faire valeur pays, ou qu'à acheter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 produits, essayer remet créer des relations avec Storio pour que ou qu'à aider nous dans la mission que nous gagnons, qui c'est bien sûr renforcer l'économie haïtienne. Et si nous avons Ronald, moi-même, nous gagnons Kenzie tout dans l'équipe là, c'est des visages que nous rencontrons souvent, mais c'est parce que justement depuis son bail qui a un rapport avec aider l'entrepreneuriat en Haïti, we are involved, and Haispot c'est juste un autre chapitre dans le gros livre que nous avons écrit pour nous contribuer à ce support là. Maintenant, pour nous parler directement de castor oil, même Jean-Ronald pensait, Ronald posait une question, c'est un bagage que tout le monde n'a pas réalisé ça. Mais au final, études ont révélé que 7% de la population américaine a acheté produits qui à base de l'huile maskriti régulièrement. Et en termes de statistiques, en termes d'études de marché, là, autant que 7% de un pays acheté un bagage régulièrement, that's a lot. Ça veut dire que grand pile opportunité. États-Unis en tant que pays, pour qui ça n'a focus sur États-Unis, c'est parce que bien sûr, pour le moment, Haispot, c'est États-Unis que les desservi. États-Unis en général, ils ont besoin d'un million de gallons de l'huile masquiti chaque année. Donc, c'est, nous pas parler de un petit marché petit, nous parler de un marché qui est extraordinaire. Et je connais que Pita, nous allons pour nous parler de différents pays, comment ils gèrent, ce genre de choses. Ça, ou même parce que d'emblée, je vais commencer avec petit pour ça. C'est que bon pays qui est le Jamaïque, qui est dans le Caraïbe blanc avec nous, qui vraiment décidé, bon, au final, marché ça, la prendre pour lui la vraiment évertuel, et l'aime évertuel, mais que même au niveau the government, even the government is involved in that. Like the Jamaican government is making sure that this whole relationship, this whole trade relationship that has to do with castor oil is covered by them. But like I said, in terms of market, just the US alone, we're talking about 1 million gallons every year, Ronald. So that's a lot. That's really a lot. And just to be clear, since we're talking about the opportunity for Haiti, of course Jamaica cannot fulfill all these demand, right? So out of all the millions of gallons that the U.S. consumes every year, Jamaican castor oil represents only 41,000 gallons. So there's a lot. Not only are they, you're muted, but not only are they trying to increase their output to conquer more of that market, but this is where the opportunity lies for us. This is where the opportunity
Wow.
we're absolutely closer, and definitely we have the same grade. C'est pas comme si castor oil jamaïcain supérieur à castor oil panois. Mais bien sûr, castor oil en général, il y a différents grades là-dedans, and the Jamaican castor oil is one of the best. And ça encore, c'est une autre opportunité, because we're so close to theirs. Mais qui ça qui pourrait faire différence là, vraiment, c'est façon, the process of creating it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna jump into that, man. So I mean, look, so for everybody, that you're wondering how we refer to, I want to, before I go into castor oil, we're calling it castor oil now, but how do we say that in Haitian Creole? Because just in case somebody's trying to buy something, some Haitian castor oil here, they might not understand how we're using the term here, man.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. One thing I noticed is that, like, for example, we started selling our own castor oil, and then someone told me, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Real Maskriti." And he's like, "Oh, Real Maskriti is castor oil." Okay, now
uh,
so not a lot of people understand the difference. And I remember I was also a judge at a final pitch contest, and then one of the people in the audience asked an entrepreneur, "What's the difference between l'huile masquiti que wap vana avec l'huile de ricin?" Right?
mhm.
Which is the same thing. Which is the same thing, c'est que, like I said, gen diferent grade là-dedans. Dépendamment de façon que ou process li an, la bay de couleurs différents, la bay de odeurs différents, et wap gen de choses différentes ou ka favel. Donc, pou m ka fè un ti klarifikasyon, plant lan rele Palma Christi. Li gon non latin ki gen ricinus la-dan, et c'est de là que Maurice en sorti. Mais moi, je rele le Palma Christi parce que ça, je pense que ça témoignait de vertu plante ça gain, parce que Palma Christi translates into the palm of the Christ. So the plant itself, the leaf itself, the seeds themselves had so much curative power that people called it the palm of the Christ. So from Palma Christi, we deformed it and, or maybe gave it nice nicknames, and it turned into Lwil Maskriti. So it's Lwil Maskriti. But because, like I said, the plant name has ricinus in it, so it's also called L'huile de ricin. So here you will see that L'huile de ricin, most of the time, it's not dark. It's very clear, a bit yellowish, right? So this is what's typically called L'huile de ricin. But ours, bon l'huile masquiti, bon fraplan, it's dark. So that's why they call it black castor oil. And that's why it's also called the black gold of the Caribbean. And in Jamaica, it's mostly the black castor oil that they sell and that they promote. And even then, just to show you how well they worked on their branding, and of course, me being into branding and brand pill and stuff, this shows me all the potential of branding Haitian castor oil. Jamaican black castor oil, first of all, has its own acronym. They call it JBCO. It's so popular, it's so well known as the best castor oil that exists. Some companies are claiming that they have JBCO when it's not even made in Jamaica.
Wow.
So some people are capitalizing on that. And we saw that recently with cassava as well. Nou wè ke gen de peyi ki pren cassava haisyen, ki mette, yo mette gwo drabo Haiti sou li, yo mette 1804, and then yap vende, yap kapitalize sou reputasyon cassava haisyen. And that's what a lot of other countries do as well. Yo kapitalize sou reputasyon Lwil Maskriti ki soti Jamaik la. But one of the things that I did my research, and in terms of processing, Lwil Maskriti Jamaïcain pa ganyen sou pa nou. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same process. So basically, we have the same level of quality that they have.
So I'm listening to all that, and for the people who don't know, right? So you mentioned there are a lot of, it sounds like a lot of medicinal uses for castor oil.
Hmm.
So I think for a lot of Haitians or people in the Caribbean, we know to a degree what castor oil is used for, right? Or how we use it at least. For people
Hmm.
that are not familiar with Lwil Maskriti and why it's so important in Haitian culture in general, what is castor oil good for? Why do we need to pay attention to this? Why do non-Haitians need to look at castor oil for some of their everyday uses? What do you
Well,
even use it for?
well, me, I'm very young, very young. I feel totally uncomfortable talking about this. But all I know is that you bring my parents here, you bring my grandma here. The answer that they're gonna give you is everything, of course. Castor oil is good for everything. If you're Haitian, you know that. Uh, so me, being a doctor, I can give you, the medical side of things. I can tell you that it's used mostly on for hair care and skin care. So that's mostly how the world uses it as well. Like beyond Haiti, most of the time, what people will tell you, son produit pour cheveux, ou bien son produit pour peau. But son huile que n'a fait expérience avec depuis tellement longtemps, right? I'm talking about like Tankoloni, etc. We've discovered other virtues that even normal science, I would say conventional science, hasn't necessarily demonstrated all these things. Or you will hear us say things like, here we use it for constipation, for example, and people will tell you no, like you're not supposed to ingest that. And then a couple of years later you will find that this laboratory, this university in the US, in France, in Spain has made some experiences, and I've noticed that yes, it's kind of good for constipation. So in other words, it's like we have the knowledge, which we call empirical knowledge. We use it, but we can't really explain how or
Mhm.
why. But the actual science of this first world country is catching up to us all the time, and they will capitalize on it
Of course.
while we will demonize it, while we will say, oh, these people are always doing stuff that don't make any sense, right?
Hmm.
So definitely skin and hair care, also constipation, but pain. And for me as a doctor, that's what blew my mind. PMS is menstrual pains. Like women every month, they have their menstruations, and it causes a lot of pain. Well, it has been proven that when you use castor oil, you boil some water, etc., and you utilize it comme sorte de compresse, it eliminates your pain. So
Oh, I didn't know that.
a lot of women use that, and a lot of women have been using that in Haiti for so long, right? But these are the
Wow.
traditions that we're losing. These are the things that we say, like, we somehow, some way, have a weird relationship with our elders, and we always feel like we are smart because we went to school and we learned stuff that were written in a book, and they are not, because, well, you just grew up and saw them doing that, and they could not explain what they were doing. But in reality, a culture strength, a country's strength, is definitely knowing how to use its heritage. So right now, and since we're talking about opportunities, this is the moment. This is the moment where doctors and chemists, who are in Haiti should come together and be like, hey, okay, fine. Um, Being a scientist, all of these things are hypotheses. I don't know if it works. I don't know if it doesn't work. How about we make some studies and see if they work and try to figure out how they work and see how we can benefit from it as a whole, as a country. But of course, they're not doing that. But it's really important to understand that other countries are doing it and are capitalizing on it. And I'm not even going to tell you how big of a market, like how many women, how women are the biggest buyers of shoes and etc.
Absolutely.
Like imagine what if you had a product that was proven standard grade and relieves menstrual pain.
Right.
So when I say the opportunity is enormous, it is. And just to finish, to wrap up, castor oil is also used as an ingredient. So instead of just consuming it the way it is, just the oil, it's used a lot in other ingredients to create, a lot of cosmetics, soaps, lipstick, lip balms, creams, lotions. Even in the pharmaceutical industry to create drugs, some capsules that you eat, some pills that you take, a lot of it is made out of oil that out of castor oil. So it's in terms of market. When I say that, like there's selling it as the oil, but there's also selling it as an ingredient, and there's an even bigger market when it comes to that.
So before you leave that thought, man, because there's something that want to I want us to understand, or maybe you can help enlighten the world on this, right? What advantages does Haitian castor oil have, and how can we, um, you know, exploit this as Haitians to promote Haitian castor oil, right? How can we take advantage of that opportunity? Like you mentioned, Jamaican castor oil is doing pretty well. They branded themselves as some of the best castor oil in the world. We have this awesome black gold in Haiti. How does
Mhm.
Haiti now step up and say, okay, look, this is what we have to offer as well? What makes Haitian black castor oil unique? How do we take advantage of it?
Well, it's a I would say it's multiple sectors that need to come together.
Okay.
Law, like literally IP law, like intellectual property law, just like Trinidad did. Trinidad, like, literally said, you know what? We have the best chocolate in the world. Trinitario, they named it Trinitario because of the Trinidad origin, right? So
Hmm.
the world knows the best cocoa is Trinitario. So there's been some legal steps taken. They branded it. They created what I would say a situation where you have to prove the origin of the cocoa in order to be able to claim that it's Trinitario. Like you can't just, yeah, I'm selling cocoa and yeah, it's Trinitario, and you can't provide any type of certificate of, there's no traceability. There's no such thing as that. So what they did is they protected their investment. They branded it. They protected the intellectual property. They branded the name and trademarked it, and now they protected it. Like, okay, so you can claim that it is Trinitario because we verified that it was, but you can't. And so they make sure that they protect their investment. And that's one of the things that we don't do. We sell a lot of castor oil in the US. We sell a lot of castor oil, but we don't pay attention to claiming that, hey, this is Haitian castor oil. It's different from what you're used to. Yours is a little diluted. And you know,
Are you
we don't,
quietly taking shots at some people, man?
yeah, we don't bring the value out. So the buyer doesn't know that yours is superior, doesn't know that, oh, so yours is better than any other thing. So because we don't even claim that, then we cannot charge the premium for it. And
Hmm.
according to the studies, like again, I'm gonna be coming back to Jamaica all the time because they're the ones doing it right. According to the data, people who see that the castor oil is actually from Jamaica, they're willing to pay 25% more on the price. Like if
Mm.
you can prove to them that, okay, this castor oil is actually from Jamaica, they're willing to pay more. Why? Because they understand that the process, the way Jamaica does their castor oil, is superior to the other countries. So
Mm.
it's things like authenticity of origin is very important, and the sustainability of the projects as well. Like meaning, is the government involved? What are we doing with the farms? Are we killing this type of species? So in other words, how environmentally safe is the cast of farms, etc., and all of that. So people who you like, you can prove that, and that's easy. That's branding, right? You claim that in your on your website, you claim that on your label. You earn certification that your thing is organic. You claim that there's corporate responsibility involved in it, and people see that and they're like, yeah, I'll definitely pay more because I understand. And I remember, I will never forget that I watched a video once on the process of making Jamaican castor oil, and people were under the comments and saying, "Oh my God, I had no idea all of these things had to be done in order to create that. I will never complain about the price ever again."
Wow.
So, in other words, the traditional that we're rejecting, the traditional way of doing things that we're rejecting, that we're not even given the benefits of the doubt. And I feel like that's not the sign of wisdom, because the sign of wisdom, the more something lasts, that means there must be some value in it, right? So I feel like we're not paying that attention, and the whole world is doing that. The whole world is giving that attention. So, like I said, if you can have these certifications, if you can prove the origin of process, if you can brand like Haitian castor oil, it doesn't have to be your brand, my brand, but as a whole, Haitian castor oil. Create a brand for Haitian castor oil. That's the way to start creating the mentality of, oh, so there's some, like, they're at least on par with Jamaican castor oil, or even better, or closer, or cheaper. I don't know, but we need to create a value proposition for Haitian castor oil, and then create, I would say, a cluster. I assume there's already a value chain, but it's not organized as a cluster, but like
Hmm.
really organize it as a cluster to make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to do it, to be done, and everything is well. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and like, I'm not, like, one person cannot do that. I spot alone cannot do that. The people who are already selling castor oil alone cannot do that. I'm talking about a cloister is like, really, there's government, there's private sector.
Yeah. So look, I'm a guy that's about action, man. So that's just the way I am. I like the talking, I like the theories and what's supposed to be done. So I'm thinking right now, okay, for the crazy people that are out there that might run into this recording, or the people that are on this call right now, man, what are some small actionable things that we can start doing? Or even if they are big, what are
Mhm.
some things that you would recommend we start doing right now? Or what are
Well,
some opportunities, at least, for us to just kind of start chipping away?
the first thing, and that's a generic answer that I'm gonna give you for everything that you want to do, everything, every crazy idea that you have, everything that you want to do, change. You feel like, oh my God, I'm not doing anything for Haiti. I'm not doing anything in Haiti. I want to get involved, and the first thing is to connect with people doing stuff. Connect with, like, you want to get involved with castor oil. Here I am talking about castor oil. Get in touch with me. So that's
Hmm.
the first thing. Connect with Haispot, because that's exactly what we're doing. And it's not what we're like today. We're talking about castor oil. Tomorrow we will be talking about cocoa. The next month we will be talking because what we realize is that there's so many treasures in Haiti that we're not capitalizing on. We're a country that has roots, that has a tree, that has leaves, and that have fruits, but we don't know how to use the fruits. We don't, and
Mm,
the small minority of people who are using the fruits don't know how to make sure everybody eats, and
mm,
that's one of the problems that we're trying to solve.
yeah.
So us supporting entrepreneurs at the end of the day is what we're trying to do is get on the macro, like, and that's why we have that country brand approach. We're not selling this guy's castor oil and not selling this guy's castor oil. We have a country brand approach, meaning we're promoting Haitian castor oil. So connect with us. That's one of the first things. But even if it's not us, find someone in your community who's already doing something, who's already invested, who's already involved, etc. But now, if you're already in the castor oil field, It's definitely about organization. Don't see everything as competition, and I always say that. And I'm a teacher of I'm an instructor of entrepreneurship, and I most of the time whenever I'm teaching, there's always 5, 7, 10 people in the same industry, and they always try to sell to each other, and
Mm,
I'm always like, no, you get together, you reduce your costs, and you create something so big that you then can go to an international market that has a lot more money to spend. Because
mhm.
Haiti, yes, I mean, we're talking about like a lot of people, I understand, but at the end of the day, purchasing power is not that high. So
Mhm.
instead of trying to choke each other here, let's bend together instead and say, you know what, let's conquer Europe, let's conquer the US, right? And coming together. So it's definitely come together. See how like you're already selling castor oil, see how you can come with someone else and find
Right, right.
bigger suppliers. Because, like I said, think, and I always say that. I always say, okay, we have the primary sector, which is, like we plant the things, like we producing raw material, like mango, like out of the tree, like that. And we have the secondary sector, which is like, okay, let's transform that. Let's make papita. Let's make and stuff. Let's make castor oil. That's still secondary. But we never go beyond that. We never
Right,
see,
right.
what if instead of selling the castor oil for cosmetic use, like directly, what if I can use it as an ingredient? What if I can sell it as an ingredient to a bigger industry who's
Yeah.
using tons, like tons and tons of gallons to create cosmetics and etc.
You know what you made me realize, man? Um, it actually is very important for a lot of Haitian businesses, a lot of producers in all these industries to come together. Because even when you think about the size of Haiti in comparison to the consumer market of the US, there's no way that one company alone is going coming out of Haiti is going to be able to supply the consumer market, even just one country like the US alone. So everybody can really eat. If literally everybody that's putting producing castor oil in Haiti come together and create this cluster, there's enough, and probably not, well, you probably still not even big enough to take care of the international market as far as what's being consumed when it
I've been
comes to
saying
castor
that for
oil.
years. I've been saying that for years, literally, wrong. Because when you think about it, your cost alone is keeping you from covering this market here, because you have so many costs, and this is the biggest. And that's not just me. We're talking stats here. Haiti is one of the worst country to do business is in. Right, like there's a literal stat, called ease of doing business. You can
Yep, yep.
Google it.
I
there's
know
a
we're at the bottom, man. We're at the bottom.
there's an ease of doing business index, and there's a lot of criteria, and it's like we're literally the hardest country to do business in, right? So yeah, you could try, you know, you could try. You could have the impression that you're doing good, but no, there's so much more. There's bigger fishes in the sea, and there's a bigger sea out there. So
Yeah,
if you could come together, you reduce your costs, you really create something strong, a strong value proposition. And when I say strong value proposition, it's not just selling castor oil. I'm talking actual marketing it, branding it, making sure people understand that yours is superior, creating a pricing strategy where people are not saying, well, it's coming from Haiti, therefore I have to pay it cheap. It should be the opposite. You should
mm,
create the opposite brand. No, it's coming from Haiti, meaning it's organic, it's natural, meaning you should be paying a premium for it. And so that's why I said it's about coming
mm,
together with high P lawyers, and there's not a lot of them. I think I only know one cabinet in Haiti that focuses on intellectual property and branding origins and etc. But I know about some programs
okay.
in the Caribbean will focus on that, because that's another advice I think I could give. Don't just stay within Haiti as well, because the Caribbean, there's a lot of programs, a lot of, like, I would say, cloisters that are being created. Like, get involved into these things. Stop trying to neglect who you are, and that's one of the things I think that's we live in a highland. We do not swim. We live on a
Yeah.
highland, and we do not fish. We import fish. right, from other countries, and that doesn't make any sense. And
No sense at all.
it's not just that we don't know how to learn how to swim. It's not that we don't have the means to fish. It's also a conflict of identity that is inside of us. We are
Mhm.
in the Caribbean region. We refuse to make trade with other Caribbean regions, like countries. It's like, no, let me go, let me try to have something in France. Let me try to have something in, like, just so much discrepancy and
Yeah,
contradictory behavior.
yeah,
And that, I feel like this is where it starts. Like, understand who you are, understand your value, understand your strengths. I know a lot of us are thinking we need to have big buildings, and that's how we're going to become a great country. But no, I mean, we're just came out like on the list of the 50 best countries, more beautiful countries, and it's not based on how many skyscrapers we
skyscrapers you
have.
got.
It's based on how many natural resources you have. And one of
Mhm.
those natural resources is castor oil. It's your cocoa, it's your coffee, it's the craftsmanship of your people. So, in other words, don't say, oh, this guy like used his hands to create this jewelry, therefore it has less value. It's the opposite. It's the world doesn't see it like that. The world says, oh my
Yeah,
God, this guy used his hand to create this jewelry. I should be
and they
paying
put
more.
more value on it. So,
Exactly.
so I know we got to wrap up, man. So I do want to touch on something because we talked about coming together, and I would be guilty if I didn't even mention that um, High Spot. And we touched on it really briefly, but High Spot has its. We have our own castor oil, right? Our own castor oil. How are we inviting other people to come in and work with us, or even just promote on the platform? How are you envisioning that High Spot is getting involved with this castor oil industry?
Well, do you have a bottle with you here? One of the
I
things
do.
one of the things I really wanted to make clear is that we created this castor oil brand specifically with the country brand in mind. It's not that we're trying to promote our castor oil, is that we want to promote Haitian castor oil as one of the best grades of castor oil that exist. So the best way that you like, there are two ways, all right, depending on who you are, right? If you're in Haiti and you are a producer of castor oil, if you're in Haiti and you're a seller of castor oil, and you can prove that we're very big on quality control, we're very big on making sure like that what we're selling is traceable. So if you can prove the origin, if you can prove that the process that you're using is the traditional process, meaning you're not mixing anything, meaning it is roasted. And that's one of the things, the common things that we have in common with Jamaican castor oil. What makes it Jamaican castor oil is the roasting process. And in Haiti, we do that as well. So it's just like coffee. The same way they roast coffee before they make it, we roast our castor oil. Whereas other countries, they just cold press it. And they're like, this means that ours is richer in terms of nutrients. So, and that's one of the reasons of, that it's better. So, like I said, if you can prove it, look at it. So this is our brand of castor oil. It's called Palmasi because Palma, it's still for Palma Christi, and Palmasi because Haitians already treat castor oil as their cabinet, right? So if you open like you go in any Haitian's household right now, and that's I'm gonna use a you ain't black moment here. If you go to a Haitian household, you open their cabinet and there's no castor oil, there's no Lwil Maskriti, yeah, you have the right to doubt their origin. So they already treat it as that it's their pharmacy, and they
Hmm.
treat everything with it. So our brand of castor oil is Palmasi, and there's a big, big tribute to our flag on the bottle. As soon as you really don't have to look further than the actual label to understand that, okay, this is definitely from Haiti. This is repping Haiti, and this is 100% pure castor oil straight from Haiti. So two ways you can get involved. If you're a seller of castor oil and you're in Haiti, or maybe you're not in Haiti, but you know a supplier of castor oil in Haiti, you can send them our way. And our contact information is in the chat. You can reach out to us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can as well like send us an email at bonjour@aspot.com. So many things that you can do to reach out to us. But if you're a buyer, whether you want to buy castor oil in bulk and you're ready to make that money. You're ready to capitalize on the fact, oh, I'm not just selling castor oil, sir. I'm selling Haitian castor oil, right? Asian black castor oil. So if you're ready to jump on this adventure of branding or of making Haitian castor oil great again, then definitely reach out to us. And if you're just a buyer, someone who typically use oil products for skin care or hair care, you can definitely get our Palmasi product on the high spot right now. It's available. Buy it and use it. Of course, send us pictures of you receiving it. Send us pictures of you opening the box. Send us pictures of you like put it in your hair. Send us pictures of make sure they're safe for work, but definitely send us as many pictures or videos that you can to really make sure that we start promoting this. We really want to start promoting Haitian castor oil as not only an alternative as the other types of castor oils, but one of the best alternatives.
Awesome, man. So yeah, I was trying to drop all those links in there for everybody to take advantage of. So like Edwin mentioned, bonjour at highspot.com. We do have a few brands of castor oil actually. So it's not just Palma C that's on the website. We do have some other brands on there that are from Haiti. So we support everyone that's in the ecosystem pushing that black gold. I need to make that a line, man. That's a bar. Everybody in the system pushing the black gold. So please go to the website and check it out and get in touch with us, man. So any last words, Edwin, as far as castor oil, the opportunities that we have? Because in my mind, we're already taking some action with that. But for anybody that's kind of in the ecosystem that's doing it on their own, what do you recommend for them right now? What's the next step they need to do tonight?
Reach out to us. But the first thing I always say to people who are to the entrepreneurs that I work with is, and unfortunately, that's one of the things that I notice is that we sell things that we don't know the value of. So we don't know exactly what we're selling. We don't know if it's gold. We don't know if it's a diamond. So therefore, we don't. So my first advice is to get some research. You can either listen to the media and think there's nothing here. You can listen to the media and think like there's nothing positive. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can contribute. Like there's absolutely nothing. There's no hope. Or you can Google is your friend. Like start using Google, start using those statistics, data. Whether we're talking Carib export, we're talking the statistics like ICS, we're talking about like USA. We're talking like there's a lot of resources online that can give you the markets, the opportunities that are in the markets, and you can focus like what in Haiti. Ask yourself, what in Haiti can I get into that can bring jobs, that can create a lot of change, that can create opportunities, etc. So it starts here. I believe as soon as you have the mindset of a winner, the mindset of a change maker instead of a complainer.
Mm.
We're rappers, Ronald. We're definitely rappers. So yeah, really making sure that your mindset changes, and like I said, you could associate yourself with people who complain all day, or you can associate yourself with people who are trying to something. I'm not saying we're gonna succeed, but at least we're trying something, and I do believe we have the capacity. So it's really each one teach one, and definitely come together so that we can push what we can, right? There's a lot of things that we cannot do, we do not have control over, but the little things that we have control over, maybe they're the ones that are going to actually change the country. So that's my advice. Like creation network, join the cluster, join the task force. You're invited. Like I said, High Spot is a family. The Bell Initiative is a family. Gaki is a family. Brentpill University is a family. Like we have absolutely no, I feel like one of the leitmotiv, one of the things that brings us together is definitely not. We will become millionaires one day, but that's not what we're looking for. Is that purpose? Is that impact? Is that making sure that as many people benefit from the riches of Haiti as possible? And I think one of the things we have is the blessing of the vision of seeing all these problems as opportunities, and we're inviting everyone to see Haiti as that as well and to join the movement, man. That's all I can say.
Thank you for those words, man. Beautiful. You're so poetic, man. We honored to be rappers like you. But I appreciate everybody for taking the time. We're gonna wrap this up. Like Edwin mentioned, we are a family. This is really what we're doing. Pretty much a combination of all of these things that we're involved in as far as how we're gonna put Haiti in the forefront and how we're going to advance the country. So a lot of what you're seeing as far as what we're promoting right now with the products, it's deeper than that too. Look at what we're doing with Haispot. It's not just castor oil. We're looking at all of these different products, all of these different services, all of these different this talent that we have within the country. And our goal is to make sure that the world is able to see that. We're able to share the beauty of Haiti, the Haiti of the beauty of the culture with the world. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram. You're probably following us on Facebook if you're watching on Facebook Live. Um, Share what we're doing. Share our website, which is haispot.com, Haispot.com, so people can understand and get behind the movement. And if you yourself are not haven't figured out how you're going to be part of this movement, reach out to us. We are still in the very young stages right now. We actually just turned one, I think, literally this month. So we're officially 1 year old, and we sold our first product. I don't know if you noticed that, but I think literally 1 year ago today, we made our first sale on Haispot, and so we've moved many products over the past year with different vendors and businesses, and we're honored to say that we've helped some businesses sell their first product in the U.S. We're honored to say that we've helped some businesses start the process of internationalizing their brand, and we're going to continue this on and on until until we're not needed anymore, pretty much. Uh, that's what the way I look at it. Until high spot,
Until the wheels fall off.
there we go. So
Until the wheels fall off.
yeah, man. So we're gonna have these conversations as much as we can. Thank you for joining us today. This is not the last time, so make sure you're following our Facebook page, our Instagram, join our email list. And if you all want to get in touch with us again, don't hesitate, don't be shy. We're still very young, still very open, and we're looking to learn from everybody as well. So have a good day. Happy Sunday to the world. Happy Sunday to Haiti. Happy Sunday to everybody. We'll see you all next time. God bless.
All right, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.